How do you think the industry changing is going to affect your job and others that do what you do?
Unless I go work at a dealer, I may not be able to do the work. So I'm going to stay independent probably until I can't do the work. But the younger generation coming up is not going to have the opportunity, I don't think. Not unless stuff shifts pretty soon. You guys have a tough road ahead, man. Seriously. I'm Robert Moen. I've been mechanic at this point at 40 years. I got into mechanics just because I like fixing things and making things, and I like things to be my way. So my passion just kind of brought me through doing the mechanical stuff. Cars, motorcycles, bicycles. Even at one point we were doing a bunch of bicycles. Got into painting because I wanted to learn, and so I bought a car for a couple $100. Went down to the paint store, asked the guy who owned the paint store, "How do you paint?" And he gave me material and said, "Go do this and go do that." And I went and did that and painted the car and sold it. There's a pro and con. Like if you look at something and it's been fixed right, you can't tell it's been fixed. So people assume you didn't fix it, and you're like, I got pictures. You know? So art, in the grand scheme of things, is probably the single most important human endeavor if you really want to look at it. Like outside of food, everything you look at, there's an artist behind it at some level. Obviously, art's a process, right? Going through art school, the most important thing that I actually got out of art school was the critique. The critique's important primarily because it allows you to take in information where it's not personal, it's about your art. And then again, it comes back to that question of why. Like, you learn to not take it personally, and then sometimes you can improve it, or sometimes you can understand your own work better. The other part too is, we talked about it a little bit, was being able to create something anyway. Your self-esteem, like, hey, I did that. Whether it's good or bad, it's all relative because art's really subjective for most people. And don't get me wrong, there is like a standard here and there where, you're gonna get 95% of people like, that's really beautiful, that's really cool, and there's gonna be some people that don't like it. But sometimes you don't know what the story is, so sometimes and again, it tends to be what you bring with it, right, your experience. So one of the big things, like this was a huge part of talking about art, kind of what people bring when they see it, right? So I did an art piece in college. I went to Cal State Fullerton, and I was in the sculpture department. And there was an assignment which was create something with tension. Well, that's a pretty broad assignment, right? Tension can be anything. My tension piece was I had a guy on a rooftop, a big mannequin, suit, tie, so it looks like he's in business, and he's got 1 foot off of a building, right? So he's jumping. He's leaning over the building, his foot's off, he's coming down. And I put it up in the art department, and people were walking by. And I had gotten permission from the school to do this maybe 2 weeks before September 11th happened in 2001. That's when I was in school. After it happened and I put that piece up, a lot of people thought it had to do with the Twin Towers, and that wasn't what it was about. It had nothing to do with that. But if you were around at that time, you're looking at that going, holy cow, this guy just did a piece about the Twin Towers. Wasn't it at all. It had to do with people like committing suicide because they lost all their money, you know what I mean? And, art brings awareness to things like that, right? The conversation is what we want. We want to have the conversation. And that's how people grow, and that's how you make the world a better place. And I do actually want to make it better, and I want to use art to do it. And mechanics, because like if you can't go to the art show because your car's broken down, I'll fix the car. I want you to get to the art show. Go see it. Go check it out. This is worthwhile. Ultimately, you want to pass everything on that you learn. It doesn't matter. And like my son, he has his interests, and I had to learn what he was interested in so I could learn it, so I can teach it to him, right? He's taken a little while, but now he's like, hey, I want to learn this, and I want him to know it. A motorcycle, a skateboard, doesn't matter. I want him to understand all those things because the freedom comes from being able to do, right? And so the self-esteem does too. Even if you fail, like, I can do that, wait, I'll figure it out, or get somebody to help you. But once you've done it, you're like, oh, I can do that, right? So, and it actually snowballs, right? So you want to have that stuff snowball. And so my legacy is to put it out there so people learn to snowball. And like I usually tell people, particularly young kids, your hands can do anything that anybody else can. You just have to know what it is. You can be a neurosurgeon. You just have to know what he's cutting and what he's doing. You have to know what you're looking at so your hands can do it. But you can do any of it. You have to learn it. With my kids, again, it comes down to fundamentals, right? I taught all my kids fundamentals: be a good person, and that was the legacy to teach him. And because he's been able to learn, I have less that I actually have to do because he can do a lot of it on his own. But I do like it when I know that he's going to teach other people, right? And so he's been teaching people. So obviously I taught him how to ride motorcycles. He taught his friends how. I'd take his friends to the track that did not know how to ride motorcycles. I'd take them to the track, and he would teach them. Teaching a teacher, it's the legacy you want. You want to spread that as far forward as you possibly can.